Girl bosses of America, let me tell you something. This lady's trying to sell y'all something. I don't know if it's a course. I don't know if it's MLM. I don't know if it is her trying to get you to sell a kidney or sponsor a child. I don't know what it is. She's trying to sell y'all something. Now, before I was a writer, I worked in public relations and marketing for a decade. I am a dinosaur. I know. There is one constant on the internet. There are people who sell and people who buy. All these people on this app giving you all this helpful little cute advice, the recruiters, the career coaches, the money folks, the health and wellness folks, all of these people, they're all trying to sell you something. Even that one little girl who's always throwing that cute in her bag, she's trying to sell you guys something. So whenever you get advice from anyone on the internet, even me, okay, take that with a grain of salt because they're looking for customers. They're looking for people to sell to, and they're trying to create a connection with you to sell to you. Always keep that in mind, okay?
So this TikToker by the name of I'm Jess Sims points out something that I think by now in the internet age we all have understood to some degree, which is to say, when you're using a platform that's free, you are the product. That the platform basically exists to connect sellers to you so that you can buy things from them. But I want to add another layer to this because I think it's really important. You see, content that sells you the idea of get rich quick schemes actually plays a dual role in capitalism. On one hand, very often these people are quite literally selling individual products. That is, they're trying to get you involved in some sort of multi-level marketing scheme and telling you that you're going to get rich or whatever. But additionally, they're selling the idea that you can get rich quick. They're selling you the idea that social mobility is a reality. Just look at landlord TikTok and you'll see a perfect example of that. And this is where it gets really hilarious because you have a ton of people who themselves will never have enough money to become a landlord. They simply do not have access to the capital. Their credit score is not good enough. They don't have enough money for a down payment. Tons and tons of barriers to them that prevent them from ever being able to become a landlord. But they watch these videos, they learn how these landlords operate, and they think to themselves, golly gee, one day that's gonna be me. I could do that. I'm all about that passive income. Maybe they'll even buy one Bitcoin or they'll buy one share of a company and think that they too are capitalists. But you see, this is all a trick. They are selling you not only on their individual schemes, scams, and whatever, but also on the idea of capitalism itself. And this is something that is really critical to understand. The whole idea of things like this, the whole idea of 401ks, the whole idea of mortgages, the whole idea of suburban life in America, quite literally was designed to be propaganda. Now, aside from the fact that financial advisors and hedge fund managers are siphoning money away from people's retirement accounts and using it as a money-making scheme for themselves there is also this general idea of getting people invested in the idea of being an investor. Getting people to buy into the idea that the interests of millionaires and billionaires somehow aligns with your interests. That was the whole purpose of things like 401ks. Instead of a public pension or instead of guaranteed benefit programs, they tie working class people's retirements up with the stock market in order to try and trick working class people to thinking that what benefits the wealthiest will inevitably benefit them. But think about it for a second. If all of these companies are making profits by exploiting their workers, and you're a worker at one of these companies and you have a 401k that has money in the stock market, are you really making money in that transaction? How is that possible? The reality is, these investments ultimately represent tying the working class to their own exploitation. Because so long as workers feel like they're invested in the stock market, they will support broadly policies that actively rob them as workers. So they can think of themselves as capitalists, they can vote pretending like they're capitalists, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones making the decisions at shareholders meetings. In fact, most people who have a 401k have no idea what all of the individual stocks and bonds they're invested in are. And that's exactly what hedge fund managers want. You see, the people that manage those funds get to have an extreme amount of influence over the direction of the economy at large. And they use your retirement accounts to leverage their influence over the broader economy. So, where a lot of working class people think that they've bought into power, the reality is that power is using them to leverage their own power. Now, to be clear, this isn't to say that working class people should never have retirement accounts or anything like that. But it is to say that you shouldn't fool yourself into thinking that you're a capitalist just because you have a 401k, and that you really need to think about the material benefits of these different policies. For example, if there was a giant tax increase on corporations that ended up reducing their stock value, but ultimately went to pay for benefit programs that guaranteed things like housing and healthcare, and maybe even like increasing social security, maybe they even go so far as to nationalize specific companies to completely take them off the stock market to turn them into public benefit. A lot of people would see their retirement account lose a lot of money. Their 401k would go down. Oh my goodness gracious. But what would you really lose? What would you really lose? The reality is, on the net, you wouldn't be losing very much at all. You wouldn't be losing anything. If you have the safety and security that is built through the institution of the government, if you have a guaranteed housing program, a guaranteed healthcare program, if the state actually had an interest in taking care of your needs and working for working class people instead of working for capitalists, then the need for a retirement plan through the stock market becomes irrelevant. This is one of the big cultural barriers for the United States to achieving any type of progress, because Americans are tricked into the idea of one day I'll be a millionaire too. And that mentality is entirely inseparable from the marketing that goes into getting people to buy random stuff on TikToks and things like that. The people that are marketing these random products are not only marketing products and multi-level marketing schemes and things like that, but they are also marketing capitalism itself. And the harsh reality is, a lot of people are falling for it.